Hey, what's up, guys? Dylan Johnson from Soccermag here, and welcome back. We are going to be doing a quick review and preview for match week 23. And firstly, I just want to say thank you for the comments, guys. I do say at the end, if I'm stupid, let me know. And there were some calls in the last weekend that didn't go my way. Particularly the first match we'll talk about is Man United, Man City. And I think pretty much everyone, even United fans, would be shocked by that result. Especially the way that United played. I think that they really impressed. Going forward, they were really good. I mean, they had the three goals disallowed for offside, with a couple of them really tight. I think the Bruno one was probably the most offside, if I remember correctly. And then Ahmad hitting the post. And in return, City absolutely offered nothing. I think Haaland, after the game, they were saying he was really tired. He was subbed off after like 60, 70 minutes. And I don't remember him having a chance, really, a proper chance. I think the rest of the team going forward was completely blunt. United nullified them so well. And yeah, it kind of felt like when City had the ball, they had a lot of it, and there was just nothing materializing at all. I was really impressed with how United set up. I thought defensively they were really solid. The Butcher, Harry Maguire, both put in massive shifts there. In midfield, Casemiro was impressed me. I know that, he is getting on and he has been criticized for losing his legs, but I thought that he played really well in the middle. Bruno, obviously, United's best player, insane. Then Mbuemo, good. Ahmad, really good. I thought overall from a United perspective, I can imagine that was the perfect performance, barring a few more goals. But Manchester City do not want to win this Premier League title. I think I said that I was hoping they'd beat United. I did predict they would beat United. I think most people would. But after watching their past four, was it 4-5 games, 3 draws, a loss, not good enough. And Arsenal didn't necessarily take full advantage. We'll get into that. But 7 points clear after 22 games. I really don't think City can keep up with them. I mean, this year, like I said, the past, say, 3 weeks have been atrocious on their side, and they are a shadow of their former selves. I'll speak about them a bit more when we talk about their next match. But then we have Chelsea versus Brentford, and good win, 2-0 against Brentford. What more can you say at home? Get the positive momentum back. Another good win from Chelsea. Rosenau off the mark. Keep going. Hopefully build the momentum from now and get closer to top 4. Then we have Leeds versus Fulham. And if I remember, I think I said a draw, but it could go to Leeds at home. So I'm not going to claim that. But, Leeds, good result. Fulham, I think I mentioned last week, bit of a flip-flop. They can play really well. They can put sides under serious pressure. They can score goals, but they can't do it consistently. On a week-to-week basis, they'll change completely and they'll lose to a team like Leeds, who I'm not taking credit away from. At home, they are really strong. But again, Fulham dropping further down the table, not really what we're used to seeing from Marcus Silva's Fulham. Then Liverpool, Burnley, probably the game I'll talk about the most for obvious reasons. And it's sort of like mixed. The result really tarnishes. After 60 or so minutes when Liverpool 1-0 up, they kept pushing for the next goal. I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. It's not as good as that second half against Arsenal with, control and possession wise. But going forward, it was better. We created a lot of chances, a couple goal line clearances. But I think just the narrative of Liverpool's season has been cannot put the foot on the throat, cannot kill teams off, and there is always a 10, 15, 20-minute period in games where the momentum completely flips and it goes from looking comfortable, looking like you're pushing for the second, could probably get the second, then want to push for the third. No. Gets to like 65 minutes and Burnley just switch it on, and it's a couple stupid passes. I think one from Alisson, one from Kanate, and they score a goal and they're completely back in it. And then every time, they get the ball, they look dangerous. Liverpool got the ball back again and started controlling possession, but the cutting edge just wasn't there. Yeah, it's just a difficult one because at home against Burnley, there are kind of no excuses there. They're newly promoted. They're low down the table in the relegation zone. They're probably going to get relegated. And that's now, I think it's Leeds, Burnley, and Sunderland all unable to beat them at Anfield. Kind of just unacceptable overall. Verts played well. Loved his finish. Cody, I think I've said it a lot. Like, I don't think he played terribly, but it's just too predictable. He is just way too predictable. Takes a lot of the momentum, slows the game down a lot, and sometimes, I think if you're going to cut in every single time and shoot 50% of the time when you cut in, you should be scoring more goals than he's scoring from that position. Or if you're going to cut inside, draw a couple defenders and look for the overlapping run, which he never does, or get it into the box. But I feel like most of the time it's the inevitable cut in. If there's no space to shoot, still shoot or pass to someone at the edge of the box. Rinse, repeat, hundreds of times. It is really frustrating. I think that, Cody hasn't really benefited from the lack of competition this season. Rio Ngamo, I spoke about it, is not the answer. He's 17 years old. He's not going to put enough pressure on Cody. Who else do you play there? Verts had a bit of a run there, but Salah, we're expecting Salah to be back, but how fit will he be after playing in the AFCON? Isak's out for the rest of the season. Hugo's, he's been our best forward this season, but really the option slot Cody has to now, he has to be the guy. He's the most senior forward there. He must be scoring goals. He must be making the right decisions. He must be making life for his teammates easier. And I feel like, especially with Kirkes or on that left side, there's a lack of chemistry there. I think I've said it thousands of times. And when Cody was injured and it was Verts, Curtis, and Kirkes on the left side, there was a lot of nice passing, some triangles, some 1-2s, some great, you could see the chemistry with those three is way further ahead than Cody with Verts and Kirkes, Curtis is not too bad, but you know what I mean. So yeah, overall good point for Burnley, but again, another draw for Liverpool. I think haven't won a game in the Premier League this year. I know it's only the 20th, but still played 4 or 5 games. So yeah, it is, like I said, the result kind of tarnishes the performance, because I don't think it was terrible. I think it wasn't bad. But again, the trends are still creeping in. The vulnerability, just easy to play through. The mistakes on defense. The going from dominating to under pressure it needs to stop. I'm tired of it. But yeah, then we have Sunderland versus Palace. And I think I said a draw, but I said Sunderland at home could win that game. Good win for Sunderland. Palace are an absolute mess right now. It's quite crazy to think that, going into the season, there was so much positivity. They just won a cup or a trophy for the first time, probably, I can't remember, but almost ever. And Oliver Glasner, highly rated. I still think he's a great manager, but his comments speaking about he feels abandoned and the players are under pressure, no signings, losing your best players. Completely understand where he's coming from, but I can imagine as a Palace fan that's incredibly difficult to hear, especially with the positivity going into the season. Selling Gehi, I'm going to try not be biased here. I really wanted Gehi when he was about to have his medical before the season started, but Glasner wanted him to stay. The deal fell through, and now they've sold him for less money to City with 6 months to go, in a position where it's probably more difficult for them to strengthen, I guess. I don't know. And Gehi going to City, obviously that's disappointing for me, but it's a good signing. Gehi is really good. He's I think 25, 26. He's a good age. He's earning, I think they said £300,000 a week, which is absolutely ridiculous. No offense to the guy, but that is elite, best centre-back in the world levels of earnings. And obviously City, for their money, is no object, but pay whatever you want. But I can understand why Liverpool were like, okay, hang on. They were probably going to pay him half of that before the season started and maybe paid a bit extra in the transfer fee. but to pay 20 million and 300,000 pounds a week is a bit crazy. And then over like a 5-year contract, that's like almost 80, 90 million pounds, as opposed to probably almost 50, 60 that Liverpool were probably going to get. I'm making excuses though. I would have loved to have him, but yeah, it'd just be interesting to see what happens long term when Diaz, when Gvardiol are back. Is he going to maybe take up the Ake role on the left side? Is he going to play? I'm not actually sure what's going to happen long term. Is he going to be on the bench? We'll see, but I think he could be a great, left addition to that left side. But right now, it doesn't really look like it's going to make a difference because City are stinking it up. Then we have Spurs versus West Ham, and I said I'd back them because they're at home, but they were capable of anything, and they really truly are. They are capable of losing to one of the worst teams in the league at home. That is a massive win for West Ham, and another terrible result for Spurs. Thomas Frank's in trouble. I think Spurs is an interesting one. I spoke about it. They've got some really nice players. If you're playing FIFA career mode, you would not mind playing with Spurs. But they have injury problems. But yeah, it's a massive mess. Started the season brightly, and it's just completely fallen off. What happens now? I'm not sure. How many more losses does Thomas Frank have in the tank? I don't really know. I'm gonna guess like 2 more. If he loses, say, 2 more games, or he doesn't win, say he draws 2 and wins 1 of his next 3, he might still be in trouble. But Spurs are, again, another team stinking it up right now. Then we have Forest versus Arsenal, and if Man City had beaten Man United, I would have been incredibly happy with this result. But yeah, Arsenal, from Arsenal perspective, similar, they're just not putting their foot on the jugular. They're not, killing Man City off while they can. It's 7 points, so it's a point gained. But to go 9 with 16, 15 games to go would be almost, that's when you're like, okay, it's curtains. You're almost going into February, 9 points clear. So to that draw was disappointing. Again, another thing of also Arsenal's kind of new year has been going forward, just unable to break teams down. They're not scoring from set pieces. It just feels like they're not scoring. I know against Chelsea in the Cup they did score a few goals from open play, but I'm talking about in the Premier League here. And Forest pulled on. But yeah, Arsenal, I think I mentioned it, that their defense is so good. It's difficult to score against them. Their set pieces are so good. They're always a threat. But open play, that's where they're struggling, I think. 1 point gained, but a missed opportunity, I would say. Like, not the end of the world, but it does leave a bit of a sour taste because, you want to go 9 points clear. Then we have Wolves versus Newcastle. And I backed Newcastle, but I think, I did say that Wolves have shown improvements in form this year and they could maybe grab something. And they did. Newcastle, again, similar to Fulham, can beat anyone on any day. But on the other day, they just can't get over the line. So it's a disappointing draw for them. But I guess they move on. Wolves, good, another good point for them. But again, I think they're only on 8 points, still game over. I don't see them, getting 10 points on Forest or anyone else, to be honest. Then we have I would say this was the biggest surprise. Man United was a massive surprise, but at Old Trafford against a big team, United can do anything. Villa losing at home to Everton is a crazy one. They've been in such good form. Everton, if I'm not mistaken, weren't on the greatest of runs going into this game. And yeah, that's both of Arsenal's title competition pretty much putting themselves out of the race. So yeah, that's disappointing from Villa's perspective. They lost Marlon. I wonder if they're going to sign anyone, but they probably do need some reinforcements. They're still doing well. It's one loss, but got to win your games at home against Everton. Then we have Brighton versus Bournemouth. I can't remember. I think I said a draw or I backed Brighton. But anyway, That was the last game of the match day. Going into game week 23, we have a couple exciting games. We have West Ham versus Sunderland, and I'm just not going to back West Ham for this. They haven't shown they can be consistent all season. Sunderland are the better team. They're getting wins. I know away from home they haven't been as great, but they're difficult to score against. They've got passion. They've got the mentality. They really want to win games. West Ham are capable of anything, and they could lose this game heavily. I'm going to back Sunderland, maybe like a 2-0 or 2-1. Maybe West Ham will scrape a point, but I just can't see West Ham having the bottle to get multiple multiple wins in a row. Then we have Burnley versus Spurs, and this is actually an incredibly difficult one because you'd think Spurs are going to want to respond, but I feel like we've been saying that for a couple months. Burnley at home is a tough one, but they started the season really well at home, I think, and they've gotten, I think, the majority of their points there, but they haven't got a lot of points. They haven't got a lot of wins. And I feel like they're looking at Spurs. If it was maybe Arsenal or City or something, they might approach the game like, okay, low block, sit deep, counter, see what we can do. But I feel like against Spurs, they might be looking at them, licking their lips, being like, guys, we can actually, outdo these guys. We can outplay them. So I think it depends on how they approach the game. If they are not too confident, but if they go there and they want to, they want to blow Spurs away, I think that might work in Spurs' favor. So I'd probably personally prefer to see Burnley do what they do best and sit back and wait for their chances. Spurs, I genuinely have no idea what they're going to do. I have no idea what they are how they're going to approach the game. They're going to approach it wanting to win, obviously, but they're a complete mess. I'm going to go for a draw here just because I really can't say what's going to happen there. Then we have Fulham versus Brighton. Sorry. And this is the type of game where I can see Fulham actually coming out the blocks and playing really well. Brighton, again, I would say they perform well most weeks. But this is another tough one. I'm going to go for a draw because I can't really separate the two teams, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham get a win at home here. They've got their AFCON players back. I think Bassi and Iwobi are back, which is massive for them. Baleba's back for Brighton, if I'm not mistaken. He could have been back on the weekend. But yeah, good game. A draw, maybe edging towards Fulham. Then we have Man City versus Wolves. And yeah, surely Man City absolutely pummel them. But yeah, Wolves have got some passion. They've got some fire right now. They are not playing badly. They are not going away. They're not lying down like they were in the beginning of the season or the first half of the season. So, and coupled with that, City just looking extremely fatigued, struggling to create good chances. Also defensively, just really easy to play through on the counter-attack. Against United, I was shocked at how easy it was for United to get through them. And then I was equally as shocked at how poor they were in front of goal. So, hoping they can bounce back against Wolves. I'm going to say a 2-0 City just because it's at home. It's against Wolves. They're the worst team in the league. Come on. Can't be 2 weeks in a row. It can't be 2 weeks in a row where they fumble like this. Or it can't be 5 or 6 games in a row where they underperform. And if they do not win this game, it's up to Man United to save us in some sort of way. And I don't know if I can trust them. But yeah, 2-0 City at home. That's what I'm going to go with. Then we have Bournemouth versus Liverpool, last game of Saturday at Bournemouth. It's a tough one. I think Bournemouth at home are a really good team. I think this season haven't been as strong as last season. Obviously, they've been absolutely gutted. They've lost Semenyo. In the past 7-8 months, they've lost their entire spine. Zabani, Huijsen, Kerkez, Semenyo, Utara, pretty much all their main players. Their defensive depth, their attacking, their goal scoring threat, gone. They've had to replace that, so we'll see what happens. But first game of the season when Liverpool played Bournemouth was insane, 4-2. I still think Bournemouth are capable of causing Liverpool problems, and Liverpool are also their own worst enemies. So I think that's a combination that could work for Bournemouth. Maybe Liverpool have a solid period of possession and they create some chances, but they don't go 1 or 2-0 ahead. Bournemouth have 5 minutes where they're putting Liverpool under pressure. Bang, the game's hanging in the balance. So, yeah, I'd also be interested to see what team Liverpool play, considering they're playing Marseille on Wednesday. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, but Liverpool need to win this game. If Liverpool draw or lose this game, Arne Slot's under even more pressure. And, yeah, speaking on that, I don't really want him to be sacked. I think sacking him now won't really help anything. Just got to give it to him to the end of the season and hope he can secure top 4. If we're in a position where top 4 looks like it's in serious danger, which I think it isn't, looking at the table, Liverpool have had the opportunity to really close the gap on second and third, not first, but second and third. And this run of draws has really set them back. It's allowed other teams to get back into the race. So they need to win this weekend. If Liverpool do not win, I can imagine the atmosphere at Anfield on Saturday against Burnley was already turning against him, and that doesn't happen often, but when it does, especially from a Liverpool perspective, it's not very good. I have to back Liverpool though, I have to, but I'm going to say 2-1. I don't expect a blow-away. I don't expect an absolute domination. I expect probably similar to the Burnley game, where Liverpool create chances, they have most of the ball. The only thing that will really define whether they win this game or not is if they can actually just be solid and not let Bournemouth back into the game. That's just what I'm hoping for. But again, I would not be shocked if Liverpool don't win this game. Brentford versus Forest, and I don't have too much to say on this. Brentford lost to Chelsea. Forest, decent result at home, but I have to back Brentford at home against Forest. Forest haven't been that consistent. They do still have a weak edge away from home, and Brentford have gotten some good results at home. So I'm just going to go for maybe a 1-0 Brentford at home. Short, sweet, simple, get it done, move on. Palace versus Chelsea, and this is an interesting one. I think this would have been more difficult for Chelsea a month or so ago, or maybe even a bit longer when Palace were really playing really well. But I think their last 8 or 9 games have not been great. They've dropped a level. And Chelsea, good win. Not terrible. They haven't played badly since Rosen was taken over. I got to back Chelsea here. I think Palace's squad depth has really been tested. Their benches have been extremely weak. They're using the same core 12 players, like Glasner said, every game. So, I'm going to have to go Chelsea here, but a tight game, I reckon. Newcastle versus Villa, and this is another ridiculous one. Newcastle at home, they're one of the most difficult teams to beat in the league. Villa, you'd expect them to bounce back. So I'm just going to go for the easy option and say a draw, but Newcastle could win this game. Villa could win this game. I'm not going to throw my neck on the line for it. Arsenal versus Man United, the biggest game of the weekend. And I think I spoke in depth about Man United's performance against City. And United do turn up for the big games. And how they played against Man City, they could cause Arsenal some serious problems. I know it's at the Emirates. And I think also Arsenal have this thing of getting too much into their own heads. They'll be at the Emirates, they'll play against United, and they'll be a bit conservative. They'll be worried that if they open up too much, United will score goals, because obviously they'll look at the City game and City were too open and United could have scored 5 goals. So maybe Arsenal will set up and, that'll be in United's favour. But I don't know. I think after last week, again, it's the same players. I know Carrick's come in there and it was a dramatically changed performance, but we've seen this from United for years, where a manager gets sacked, they play against a rival, they play extremely well, and then the next game they bottle. So United on a horse that's difficult to back, but I'm going to have to back Arsenal at home. As much as I'd love United to win, I think you have to back Arsenal at the Emirates. If United can get a draw, if United can win, I will be insanely happy because I want Arsenal to struggle. But again, United are really close to Liverpool now, so this is a tough one. I'll take a draw. I'd be happy with a draw. But yeah, I have to back. I'm going to maybe say 2-0, 2-1 Arsenal at home. And I think for obvious reasons, we can understand why. But I'll put the caveat in there that I wouldn't be surprised if Man United do something. Final game, we have Everton versus Leeds. And this is another tough one. Leeds away from home, not as strong, but they are capable of performing well. Everton at home, you'd expect them to win. They just got a massive result against Villa. Yeah, it's one of those where you have to back the home side in these situations. So I'm going to say 2-0 Everton. But again, without being a cop-out, I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds can do something. But yeah, that's the preview for this week, guys. Once again, let me know if I'm stupid. Let me know what you think. Are Arsenal going to beat United? Can United keep the streak going? Are Liverpool going to beat Bournemouth? And what is going wrong with City? Is Gay a great signing? Let me know in the comments. Cheers, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc., etc. Cheers. Thank you.